Attention!
Welcome to the Film Mages Podcast, where the popcorn is our ammunition, the couch is our foxhole, and the cinema is our place of worship.
Now let me see your war face. Ah!
Oh my God, we're back.
Good Lord,
We are back.
We are back.
We are so back.
We're officially
Alexis,
back.
we're so fucking back.
You're so
I mean,
back.
you're not back, which makes me sad. It makes me sad that
Well,
you're
there
not
are
back
three
with us.
people back
But
in
we're-
that apartment, just not the regular
That's
three
true.
people of either way.
That's right.
That is true. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
R.I.P.
Moment of silence.
Now I'm fucking sad again.
We're referring to our roommate had to fly the coop while we were gone.
Yeah, it was
so.
fucked up. It was fucked up. It wasn't right. And I'm fucking mad.
I wanted
about
to
it.
turn this into our sound studio, but we can't afford the rent with that, so we have to get another tenant.
Yeah, well, just fucking. I'm mad about it. I'm mad about it. And I'm sad about it. But this isn't the place for it.
This is a place for entertainment.
This is, and it's a place for film, and it's the Film Majors, and that's who we are. I'm Zach.
I'm Mick.
I'm Alexis.
And
And wait a minute, hold on.
what's that?
There's a breeze.
A presence. A presence.
I
is
love the
here.
sound effects. That's
Our
great.
last guest did that too.
I love it. Hey, spooky season's all about the wind. It's probably just the wind.
It's probably just the wind. It's not just the wind. Who is it?
It's Kristen Semedo.
Hi, Kristen.
That's how you say the last name, by the way. Everyone.
Semedo.
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 Yeah.
What
It's
is
not
that?
Semedo. It's my husband's last name. It's
okay.
a Cape Verdean name.
Oh,
Right on.
nice.
Yeah.
Wait, so when I met you, you taken that name? I feel
Yes,
like you
I
had.
had.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I was only a Higgins in LA for like 4 months.
Higgins.
Yeah.
I hate to
Higgins?
say it. I love that name though. Kristen Higgins.
God, that's because you're
From
you're becoming infected with being British, like
I am.
one of the guys in The Thing.
I
You
am.
fucking sicko.
Yeah, I'm wearing the thing right now
That's so funny.
to show my lights
friends
to the
were
crowd.
literally in a band called the Milford Higgins when I was coming out of high school.
The Milford Higgins.
Oh my God. Wait, that like Milford, Massachusetts, or like is that
Girl,
like
I don't
related
even
at
know.
all?
I don't know why they chose the name.
Okay.
Like half of them weren't even white.
okay.
So
Oh God.
Yeah.
Well, the Higginses are very white.
I was about to say, I don't mean to cast aspersions on
Oh,
the
no.
Higgins name, but that's when your last name is featured in the play Pygmalion and My Fair Lady, it's a pretty white name.
That's a white name.
Oh,
That's a white
true.
name.
Well, Kristen, tell us a little about yourself.
Oh man, yeah. So I am originally from Massachusetts. I moved to LA in 2021, which was not that long ago, which makes me very grateful for the experiences I've had so far in LA. So I got started in the art department, on indie films with my group of friends, and kind of quickly found my way into like the feature film world and got into the union as a local 44 property master
Hell yeah.
last November.
Yeah, congratulations. I know it's late, but still.
Yeah.
That's
it's cool.
awesome.
Yeah, and then I was like, wait, I like to write too. And I think I since the strike started, I've been having like a come to Jesus moment about like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so writing is really more of my game, but props is another like beautiful language
Yeah.
of film that I really enjoy doing. So
And you've done quite a few horror films, right?
I did VHS 85. I did.
Oh, wow.
Well, I
Hell
did
yeah.
Scott Derrickson's segment. I didn't do the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
That's right, Film Major fans. We have an actual person on the show today.
Oh no, that was
It's been big gets this month.
Yeah, it really has been.
and that was honestly a dream come true when my friend Ariel Vida, who is the reason I'm in film, she was like, "You want to work on this?" And I was like, "Yes, absolutely, I do," because I started watching those in 2012. So VHS, and then last summer wrapped on Destroy All Neighbors with Alex Winter and Jonah Ray Rodriguez.
Oh, wow.
Hell yeah.
So TBD on the release for that, but
Yeah.
it's out there in the news, and that was my favorite one so far. So
That's super cool.
Excellent.
Well, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, again, we met on a film set.
Yes.
We worked on a movie together last summer, which was, it was a wonderful experience. meeting
Yes.
you. Maybe not the film, but we won't go into that. But another reason
Nick, you've been fucking throwing shade on this podcast.
I'm not mentioning names.
Don't mention the war.
But also, I want to talk about if it's okay, your really awesome blog that I think our listeners should definitely check out. What's it called?
It's called The Aspiring Final Girl. And, that, again, was sort of like something that came from this moment in time where it's like, whoa, we're out of work. And I, just got into the industry, really, and this kind of sucks. And what can I do that's, like, helping me move towards, growing as a person with film language? And I was like, I should just write about the movies I care about. And specifically, I guess, like, we know about the final girl trope as, like, a feminist icon. But I wanted to use it like as a vehicle to like introduce people who might be like wary of horror or like dismissive of it as a way to like connect people to like how thoughtful horror actually is about like fears in society and all that. So that was the motivation. I've sort of slowed down on publishing a little bit, but I think I have like 5 or so pretty thorough reviews, including the Barbie movie.
Yeah, they're fantastic. It's like, what is it called? Is Barbie the ultimate final girl?
Yeah.
That's a great piece.
Thank you.
Please read it, folks.
Excellent.
It's very good.
Well, Christian?
Kristen.
Jesus, what is going on?
Catholic.
What's going on?
Oh, I didn't even catch that. There we go. That's nice.
I blew it on purpose. I misspoke. I haven't eaten yet.
No, it's okay. It's totally fine.
Yeah, so what is going on,
It's
folks?
our famous segment, What's Going On?
Our infamous segment, What's Going On? What the fans come for.
It's what they crave.
Yeah.
Now, Alexis, what's been going on with you?
Yeah, I feel like you'll have more going on, Alexis.
Well, as far as movies go, I did finally finish. I started it this weekend and then finished it last night, but Tigers Are Not Afraid.
Ooh, good one.
I haven't seen that. What is that?
If you want to...
It's,
Yeah, it's a Spanish movie, and it is, as most Spanish horror movies are, more sad than scary.
Right. Wait, what's it called again?
Tigers Are Not Afraid.
It's
Tigers
really
Are Not
good,
Afraid.
though.
I've heard of it.
It's like...
I love Spanish horror.
Yeah, it's under 90 minutes, which I fucking love. I live for movies that are 90 minutes and under.
Nom.
Attention spans are short these days. So I did start the movie totally killer, but I was also like tipsy when I was watching it. So I fell asleep like a third of the way through the movie, not because the movie was boring, but because it was time for night and I was like laying down under some blankets. And other than that, the play is going okay so far. It's going good. We open next weekend.
Nice.
So
You open next weekend?
Yeah, next.
Wait, isn't it a Christmas play?
Yeah, so we run until Christmas, until 2 days before Christmas. So, because it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday showings.
I've got a large window to see this play in.
Nice.
You do, yes. It's all the way from November until almost the end of December. And then I have literally like 1.5 weeks off before I start the next run of the next play. So, because we open January 5th for that play. Yeah. So we're rocking and rolling.
So look out for Alexis Avitia, folks, off Broadway. It's going to happen. You're witnessing it snowball as we speak. Alexis, I'm really fucking excited for you. That's really awesome.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely a bad friend if I can't go see it.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's a big period of time to go see it.
Whatchamacallit?
Let the record show.
I had, so the guy who normally plays the ghost of Christmas Present is out from yesterday until like next week. So I have to, as his understudy, like go on. And he's been doing this like incredible Scottish. Everybody else is doing an English accent, obviously, because it's like Victorian London. But he's been doing this Scottish accent, right? And so when I was like going on for him, they were like, "Oh, what are you going to do an accent?" And I was like, "Oh, I was just going to do a regular English accent." It is hard to not do the Scottish like brogue accent because I hear it so often in his voice, right? And they're like, oh, you could do Scottish, you could do Irish. And I swear to fucking God, I am traumatized by the time you guys made fun of my Irish accent. And that's all I can think about. So anyway, so I decided I'm going full Scottish. So
why is...
Hell yeah.
Why is the Ghost of Christmas Present Australian all of a sudden?
Fuck you. Actually, I think that Banshees of Inisherin definitely it's helped me quite a lot to refine the Irish accent. I won't be doing it for you guys because you guys suck.
Aw.
You know what? That's fair.
I'm like,
that
this is
fair.
not my
We've lost our
space.
Irish Alexis privileges.
Yeah, you've lost my trying
We've
things
lost
out.
our privileges. Damn it. Well, Alexis, I can't wait to see your play. I'm really excited. And, whenever I go, you will most definitely hear about my thoughts on this podcast.
Also, if our fans wanted to come out and see the play, where would they go?
So if any fans happen to live in Fresno, you can come see it at,
of which there are some.
Yeah.
at Second Space Theater in the Tower District.
Second Space Theater in the Tower District, folks. If you are within 300 miles of Fresno, you better go out and meet one of the premier film majors after the show.
You can,
You're goddamn
you can
right.
see me have literally like 6 costume changes throughout this entire fucking play. It is redonkulous.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Remind me again, who do you play when you're not the understudy for a Christmas present?
So I'm Charwoman, who's like somebody that steals shit from Scrooge's house. It's like in the, like later on after.
Oh, yes.
Future to come. She's like
It's
selling
after
his
he's died in the
bed curtains
future.
and shirt and whatever.
Bed curtains.
So I actually really love my Cockney accent for that. It's very crass and brazen.
Can we hear it?
Can we hear it?
Can we do a little line reading?
Okay. Let's see here. And one more thing. Look till your eyes ache. You won't find any holes in this shirt or any place threadbare. It was the best he had, and a fine one too. They'd have wasted it if it hadn't been for me. So yeah, that's...
Wow.
And it's so great because I get to
done.
just we cackle so much in that scene. I love it. And it's so different from
You're good at
everything
that.
else.
Yeah.
Because in the ensemble, I'm just, a lady and I'm wearing dresses and shit, So I just love this
And you talk like that?
not like that. I don't really talk in those other scenes. So I play a Fezziwig.
Yeah.
I play a Fezziwig daughter during the past, and I literally do a jig dance.
Cool.
So yeah, so you see me do a dance.
Cool.
Excellent.
That's great. I'm glad they're capitalizing on your maniacal cackling. I believe that's on your
awesome.
resume.
That's fucking awesome. I can't wait. Well, pivoting to our guest, Kristen.
Yeah.
What's been going
What's
on
going
with
on,
you?
Kristen?
Oh my god, yeah. So let's see. I've watched a lot lately.
Hell yeah.
I actually finally got around to seeing A Haunting in Venice, and I was surprised because it wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have seen.
I saw that.
Okay,
Alexis has.
Alexis has.
Okay. Did you like it, Alexis?
Okay, cool. I thought it was a little predictable, but I enjoyed it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess It turned into a kind of whodunit when I wasn't expecting it to.
Yeah.
So that was just fun. But I also got around to seeing Saint Maud for the first time.
Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh,
I don't know what
love
took
that
me so
movie.
long, but also that in part of getting ready for today, I was like, oh, okay, let's see what are some contemporary movies about psychosis, and a Saint Maud is a really great example of that. So we did do that.
Pick.
Yeah.
That's a very good pick.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. And Single White Female, I watched last night.
Single white female.
Oh, I've heard that's good.
I haven't seen
Oh
that.
that's a good case study in lesbophobia and all
really?
that stuff. So
Wow.
Nice.
yeah. So
Seen any new releases at all lately? Been to the theater?
Besides A Haunting in Venice, which we saw that in theaters
that's right.
a couple weeks ago. God, when was the last time I like went to see? Besides the premiere of VHS 85, God, I haven't like seen anything in theaters in a while. I've kind of been like a shut-in.
Yeah, me neither. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, I did go to the theater.
What about
Oh,
you?
yeah?
I
What'd
went
you
to the
see?
theater a couple days ago, and I saw Marty's latest picture, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh,
True
my God.
cinema.
That, you're fucking goddamn right.
Lily
I don't know what
Gladstone.
we're going to do without him. She's fucking incredible in the movie. As much as I'm fucking blanking on the lead actress's name of Past Lives. Greta Lee, I think.
Yeah.
As much as I love that performance, I think Lily Gladstone should be a fucking lock when it comes to the Academy
Best
Awards
actress,
for Best Actress. She's incredible. She's the heart and soul of that movie.
Yeah.
Incredible. I love how Scorsese has decided that every time he casts Leo now, it's going to be as just a little rat fuck.
He's good at it.
Because the last time he did it, it was Wolf of Wall Street.
Right.
It was like, let me cast Leo as a guy who I just really fucking hate. Just really fucking hate this guy. And this one is like, let's cast him as a little worm, as a little fucking spineless little fucking worm.
Yeah, Tarantino saw that in him too and put him in Django. He's good at being a little rat fuck.
I think that, like, particularly since winning the Oscar, I think Leo has become more and more comfortable with just being a little rat fuck. And I think he's great at it, and I think he's great in the movie. De Niro, obviously, fucking powerhouse.
Right.
Also, not to spoil too much, but it is an incredible heat check from a director to be like, I'm going to drop Brendan Fraser and John Lithgow as late as he does in the movie. I'm just like, that is a director who has some fucking clout, who's like, oh yeah, no, the guy who won Best Actor this year, let's drop him in like the last 40.
See, what I like about
of my
that
over 3-hour movie
is
it's awesome.
It feels operatic, where it's like there are big characters, big actors playing these characters, but they will appear at any point. They'll come and go. It's very much of like a big ensemble operatic piece. That's why I'm so excited to see it.
Yeah, and there aren't a ton of... This is also a great movie for that guys. There are many just like great character actors whose faces I recognize but whose names I don't know, who Scorsese has just peppered throughout.
That's dope.
And the actual members of the Osage tribe who are in the movie are fucking incredible. It is a very heartbreaking movie. And I think that it does a good job addressing the idea that, like, this is still a story that's, an outsider looking in.
Right.
I don't want to spoil anything, but there is a moment where Scorsese kind of reveals his hand that he's, like, commenting on that.
Yeah.
And it fucking floored me.
Amazing. Based on a book, right?
Yes,
yeah,
which I really want to read now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's my favorite movie of the year.
Really?
So good.
What was your favorite movie of the year up until then again?
John Wick 4, baby.
John Wick 4.
It's the first movie to unseat John Wick 4.
Wow. Cool. I'm really
John
excited.
Wick 4 is so good, Alexis. Don't shake your head at me.
As soon as we finish this recording,
Don't shake your head at me.
I'm going straight to the theater to watch Killers
John
of the
Wick
Flower Moon.
4. I agree. Oh, you're telling me it's not on anymore?
It's not.
It came out in March.
You know
It's
what?
still playing?
What I think's really cool is that they're giving Killers of a Flower Moon IMAX showings.
Yeah, I really want to go in IMAX.
That's what I'm seeing it in.
Oh, tell me how it is.
But it's so because typically that's reserved for the big budget tentpole, Marvel stuff.
Yeah, it was already surprising that Oppenheimer ran the IMAX.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess it's not that surprising, but it's because it's Nolan.
Yeah.
But that's not the typical kind of movie you'd see
I think
in
that's
an IMAX.
great. I think it's really that Martin Scorsese's getting the IMAX screenings for a while. Like, hell yeah.
Give it to him. He deserves it.
He deserves it.
Years ago, right before the pandemic happened, in Boston, I had tickets to go see Shutter Island, and they were projecting it on to Medford State Hospital where they shot it.
Oh, wow.
And then the pandemic happened, and I never got to do it, and it was probably the most devastating thing.
That's awful.
My life. No, that's an exaggeration, but
No, I'd say
No, I agree with you.
Stick your guns.
No. Yeah, that sounds right.
oh god. Okay.
But yeah, saw that. I'm gonna actually save the other movie that I watched for when we're talking about our big topic.
Okay.
Because I watched a movie that fits well into our big topic.
Nice.
I also wrapped shooting on Show Monkey Studios' first independent feture film, American Flake.
Congratulations.
Yeah, my buddy Drew, past and future guest Drew, got the money together. We all shot it with, just a bunch of our friends in our hometown.
How much did you guys
get
together to make that?
I'm not sure exactly what the budget was. I think it was like $70,000, something like that.
Yeah.
But also, fingers crossed, we're getting an Oregon tax rebate, so there's going to be some additional money coming in for post, and we're going to hire a professional post house to mix sound, which is bittersweet because it means I won't be making money from that, but is good because it means it will be done better than I could do it.
Ain't that the thing?
Yeah.
It's like, damn them.
I mean, based on how thank you to the people who let us use their lavaliers, but based on how those lavaliers work, there's going to be some cleaning up of those that needs to be done. And the guy I was talking to was like, "Oh yeah, I've got this plugin that cleans up fuzz sound on lavalier microphones." And I was like, "I didn't even bring that up, but we need that so desperately. Thank you."
No, that's awesome.
So yeah, it was just the time of my fucking life. I need to get writing to get funds together for my own feature fucking stat because that was just an absolute blast. Nice. And who doesn't want to, make movies with their friends for a living? That's the fucking dream.
That's what we're here for. That's awesome.
Got to live the dream a little bit, and I got a taste, and I need more.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Well, congrats, man.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
sick.
you. Yeah, I'm real excited. And also, not related to anything I've been doing, but actor strike is still going on. They're talking with the AMPTP today. But check our show notes. We've still got links to donate to those strike funds.
Please do. People are hurting.
Yeah, people are hurting. So pop a little cash in there.
Pop some cash.
Pop some cash.
For myself, again, embarrassed to say, I have not had time to watch any new movies, which sucks. But I've been very busy myself. Just wrapped this long commercial where we drove over 4,500 miles grand total. Wow. From the border of Canada all the way down to Fort Bragg.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
you make it to Bellingham, Washington?
No.
Okay.
Where's Bellingham, Washington again?
It's up near the border. Alexis made it there.
Wait, where is it? Is it on the river?
Man, I don't remember. I was 4 when I lived there.
Okay, I don't know. I may have. I don't know. But I did go to Forks. So
you did all the Twilight.
Oh, I did all the Twilight
reenactments.
Yeah.
And
Bellingham
absolutely.
is
Have to.
more inland, though, isn't it?
Yes, I think a little bit.
Yeah.
Although, I think it's pretty close to the ocean. But again, this might be like a child's memory. I might have just seen a lake.
Your lakes are huge out there.
Pond.
Yeah, I know.
What? The people there? Fucking giant.
But yeah, I've always wanted to work a travel show, to just get paid to go travel to places, and this was like the first time I've properly had that, and it was just it was a vacation, man. It was amazing. It was so cool. But yeah, I just flew in last night, and I had one of the escape aisles where you have to be at the door, and I drank quite a bit before getting on the plane.
Did you pop it open?
And but I completely forgot that I'm sitting at that seat. And so, I'm showing, my boarding pass, and she's like, "Oh, you have one of the escape doors. You consent to, helping out." And I immediately felt like Randy Quaid from Independence Day, where I'm like, "I'm fly, I'm pilot." I was so tempted to just start quoting, ever since I was kidnapped by aliens, I've been dying for some payback. So, Russell K, sir, I won't lay down. Get this man another seat.
Just like Sterling Archer. I want to fly the plane.
Well, here's the thing. This was the first time I've been kind of actually a little uncomfortable flying because since we've last recorded, this has nothing to do with movies, but there was that flight that got grounded.
Yeah.
The pilot tried to ground.
Well, it wasn't the pilot. It was he was a pilot, but he wasn't the pilot of the flight.
He might be on shrooms or something.
Yeah, he was sitting
shrooms.
in the jump seat.
He tried to.
He was on shrooms.
He was on shrooms.
Such
apparently.
an aggressive action for shrooms.
And he tried to cut the engines, and he's being charged with 83 counts of murder. And it flew.
Attempted murder. They were fine.
And
honestly, no harm, no foul.
He flew out of Seattle, and they grounded at Portland and Alaskan Airlines, and that was the exact type of flight I was taking. So I was just like, all right,
man,
let's see what happens.
You could have had a real interesting story for the podcast.
But yeah, that's up with me. Living the dream of just existing and getting through every day.
Yeah. Why do you look so haunted?
Because it's spooky season, baby.
I just thought it's not in theaters, but I did watch Cobweb.
Cobweb.
Okay.
Oh, I've heard of that.
This movie, it was really fun, but fair warning, it's a classic example of why you never show the monster. Oh. Because as soon as the monster came on, you were just like, this feels like a googly-eyed spider that, got grown in a lab somewhere. And
interesting.
But it was really good. And I'm gonna blank on her name now, but she was in Castle Rock and Mean Girls, and she plays a really good insane woman. Again, this is coming up. But
was it Amanda Seyfried?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, she's great. Yeah. She's always really good.
She's just like really good at just being a little unhinged.
Love it.
So anyway, Cobweb. It was fun though. I just wish they didn't show the monster.
Yeah.
It's like those old B movies where they finally show the monster and it's like, oh,
yeah,
that's it. But then they hold anymore. On it, slowly creeping towards camera like this isn't looking any better.
It's not doing what you want it to be doing.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Anyway.
All right. Well, maybe I'll check that out.
Yeah.
It's fun.
All right.
Hell yeah.
I feel like that's as good a place as any.
Let's do it.
Let's hop out of what's going on. And we're back.
Folks.
I hope you enjoyed your little break.
Hope you're doing important things. Did you do that thing, listener? That thing you've been sleeping on? You got to do it.
Yeah, you can't put that off anymore.
Otherwise, you're going to get evicted.
Well,
got to pay it.
You got to.
As much as, hey, fuck the landlords. I get it. I understand. But hey, you got to have a roof over your head. Do what you can.
God damn, I'll give you the fucking internet money tonight. Jesus, dude. Well, as much as it pains me to say it, we are at the end of spooky season.
Another Halloween has come and gone, Charlie Brown.
Well, this episode will come out tomorrow. Actually, we're right down to the wire with this one.
Yeah, this is fresh, folks. This is a fresh episode.
So we hope that you are doing some fun stuff for your Halloween weekend. We hope that you go out, give some children a fright. Put on a scary mask, chase a child around.
Yeah,
hypothetically, maybe don't do that.
It's Michael Myers here.
If it's your job, if you're at like a haunted house, you can do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we hope that you have enjoyed the Film Majors Halloween Spooktacular. We hope that you have been following along with Zach's Halloween Spooktacular horror movie list. Since this comes out on what's today? The 26th? Mm-hmm. All right, so, tonight's film, since it will be coming out on the 27th, tonight's film is The Blob, 1988.
Oh, that I've never seen that all the way. I've heard
we watched The Blob together.
Was that the
1988 one?
Oh,
we did see that, didn't we?
Has erased from his memories.
My
memory is awful.
There's holes in there. Maybe really drink a little less at the airport, buddy. Jesus. He's not gonna.
No, not gonna.
Can't.
But yeah, I remember. Yeah, the special effects.
Incredible. I can't wait to watch that movie
underrated.
Again. So yeah, this is a big recommendation. Check that one out. We're at our final big topic of the month.
Yeah.
And we've got a very special guest here.
Yes.
And we figured, what else could we talk about?
Yeah.
Except the most fuckable horror movie monsters.
That was the original topic.
It's a better topic.
I don't know if it's it's a topic.
It is.
I think
it's a good one. My answer is Candyman.
The reason I shot that down was because of exactly what just happened, which is like, I really don't want to know a monster that Zach thinks is fuckable. I mean, that's really it.
He's so handsome. Yeah. He's got a deep, booming voice, and he's a romantic.
He is. I'll give you that. He's a handsome guy.
Yeah. What do you mean?
I don't want to fuck him though.
Why?
It's just
coward.
I even think about hook hands.
Well, get over it.
They don't do it for me.
Well, they can do a few things for you.
Who has hook hands?
If you give him a chance. Candyman. He's got a hook hand.
He's a handsome man.
Thank you.
Yeah, there we go. We all agree.
But you know what? Mick shot that down because he's a coward.
I am a coward.
So what are we talking about instead, Mick?
Well, due to the film that we're talking about today, something that I really love in films is when a character
has sex with a monster,
goes mad.
Oh.
Just movies that best portray madness. Maybe even a movie that makes you yourself feel like you're kind of questioning reality. And I just kind of wanted to put it out to the board of film majors here of what are some of your favorite movies that capture madness, however you choose to define that.
Well, when I was getting ready for this, and I was kind of like researching and like just blanket Google search like movies with specifically with women that are going mad, like what are the classic examples? And like other than Carrie, everything really kind of, those movies were really like made, it seems like in the like maybe 40s and 50s era, like black and white era. And now it seems like we are having a bit of a renaissance with movies like Midsommar. And I was thinking about it and like, you know, that's like the first movie in like recent memory where we're actively cheering on like a person who is literally like murder. I mean, most of the time we are kind of doing that in some way, but Midsommar really did this thing where we really felt deeply for our main character who might have been in psychosis, and we kind of like felt that like need for revenge for her. But I feel like you know, like the 80s and 90s didn't really have a lot of those like movies in circulation.
Not really. Not that I can think of.
Except for Single White Female, which is why I watched it last night, and that was sort of that was an interesting one. But
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to check those out.
Yeah.
I do love going a little mad sometimes.
Well, before we even pitched that topic, I watched a movie called May, which is a 2002 film, which is once again going on my list of I could fix her movies. This is much like Pearl. I believe that May, you know, she's just looking for someone to pay attention to her and to give her some love and affection. And you know what? I could be that guy. I'm not like Adam. I wouldn't freak out when she bites me. She bites a guy a little.
I can definitively say that this is a step farther in the direction of madness for Zach, because she is worse than Pearl. She is definitely
no, she's not. She's not.
You said this, and I'm just like, we're just inching closer and closer.
We're inching closer. Again, to reiterate what my brother said, it's really nice that I'm dating a nice and normal woman. Because fictional women I'm into, again, Gone Girl, I'm like, do it.
I get that.
Do that to me.
Have red contacts on and you just can't even see the flags.
I don't know what you're talking about. She was a nice lady. She's played by Angela Bettis. Anna Faris is also in this movie, and she's so fucking funny.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Oh, James Duvall's in it.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, you know, it's like... Again, she really just needs someone to like listen to her and see her for her and appreciate her.
You know, honestly,
and you know,
she's
I don't
relatable.
think that
she's more relatable to me than
she
Pearl
is relatable.
is, because I'm like, hey, you're sad because people are mean to you, and I get that. I mean, you know, maybe not all of us experience psychosis after being rejected by people, but you know, we all experience that.
I think that Pearl is maybe a little more of like a true like narcissist sociopath than May is. Yeah. But May does make a doll out of people. Yeah. Spoilers.
Does she?
Yep.
Oh wow.
But you know, at the end of that movie, I was like,
she just wanted a friend.
Don't stab your eye out. You're so sexy. Why are you doing this?
You sound like Tommy Wiseau right now. You're so sexy.
Hi, Mark. Yeah, Pearl, I think, is a really good like character study depiction of someone who is unmoored from reality, but who is not unsympathetic. I think we are meant to sympathize with May.
See, That I like movies like that. That's why I just want to throw out Mandy really quickly of a movie where you totally empathize with the character that's fucking losing it.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. I mean, Nick Cage. I
hate to say it because I don't like Nick Cage. I
don't?
I know.
Okay, all right.
I'm going.
Let's unpack this real quick.
I don't know. Maybe it's a childhood thing. I have to talk about it with my therapist. But up until
Is Nick Cage in the room right now?
yeah.
What's going on? Why don't you like me?
Up until Mandy, I mean, I would have given you this, but Mandy made me be like, I have to give this guy credit. Mandy really fucked me up.
Right?
And it was good, and I appreciate him in it a lot. And I think that sympathy comes from having to sit through really painful torture scenes just for a wee bit too long. It's impossible not to sympathize.
I know. Well, I love that shot in the car when he's driving and he just turns over and he has this murderous smile on his face, even though he's been hurt so much he just can't help but just fucking smile his way through it. That is a man who is losing touch with reality.
Has lost it.
Yeah, completely lost it. If you haven't seen Mandy yet, that movie's a vibe.
I gotta go through it again because I watched it when I was high and I only watched it once.
That's a great way to watch that movie.
Oh, it was.
You a little scared?
No, I was very scared.
I love it when the cult leader is playing his.
I know.
I love it when the cult leader is playing his music.
Jeremiah Sand.
And Andrea Riseborough just starts laughing maniacally and basically just making fun of how small his manhood is because he's completely naked. That's how you cut a cult leader down.
Cut him down. His music sucks and he's got a small dick.
Yeah, exactly.
Taking notes. How to...
Yeah, in the event
that I am kidnapped by a cult leader, I will immediately make fun of his dick. It's, it works. Yeah. It works.
Oh, my God.
Alexis.
Well...
I'm sorry, the haunted children upstairs are stomping around.
The old Victorian children. That apartment's been empty
tigers
for
are not
years.
afraid. Mick, I do think you should watch that movie though. It's a quick watch and it's very good.
I really want to.
It's remember that topic that we had that was incredible performances by a child actor? It's a whole slew of them. So good.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Shouts out to the Dark Universe guys because they put me onto that movie.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
And to be honest, I mean, if you see it in a certain way, that movie kind of is in this line because it blurs your sense of reality of what is going on in this character's head versus what is actually in real life. But some of the other movies I thought of were A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe, because he literally
good choice.
I haven't seen the movie in a long time, but I definitely thought of that one first.
Paul Bettany. Yeah.
And then I thought Black Swan because it actually... This is the Easter egg for the next week's choice. Darren Aronofsky's. Yeah, so
good little hint.
Good little hint, baby. So I mean, I don't know. I love a movie that obviously does the whole thing of what's real, what's not real, did that actually happen? Did that person even say that to that person? And then the physical manifestation of the madness, when she's starts to pick at her skin and she's almost picking her nail completely off. And it gets to the point where she's fighting with her mother. I think she ends up killing her mother or something. She fights with this girl who's her rival, but it turns out she actually stabs herself. That shit. Bonkers, bananas.
Yeah, that's probably easily my favorite Aronofsky.
It's crazy because I've still never seen Black Swan.
That's a good movie.
I really want to. I love Natalie Portman.
Keep telling Zach if you have to watch Requiem for a Dream. You can't make a decision on Aronofsky without watching Requiem for a Dream.
Watch it with a good group of friends.
Yeah,
that's another one I haven't seen yet. I haven't seen a lot of Aronofsky.
I'll get a little high for that one.
No, don't do that. Oh no.
You should watch Requiem for a Dream and then watch Trainspotting directly after, and you will just have a great night.
Hell yeah!
Good vibes.
Boy.
Great vibes.
I mean, I feel honestly, based on what I've heard about Requiem for a Dream, Trainspotting probably is a little pick-me-up after that.
It is, yeah.
Trainspotting's a fun movie.
There's some fun in that movie to be had, for sure.
There's some fun.
I feel like we have to... Yeah, they're goofing around. They're fun guys. I would like to, real quick, do our obligatory mention of The Lighthouse.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah, that's probably my favorite.
Yeah, I feel like we've talked about it a lot. We don't need to go too deep into it, but The Lighthouse, incredible depiction of particularly our pets just going mad.
And what's great about that, again, is not just the performances, but also the editing of the film helps so much sell the fact that things are just completely falling apart sanity-wise. It's incredible. You don't know when this happened, what that means, the way it's shot. It's incredible. I mean, that's kind of
like The Shining in that way.
Another great one with Jack Torrance going completely bonkers.
No, he's pretty normal.
I mean, his performance is incredible. In fact, that and Full Metal Jacket with D'Onofrio, another great just going mad performance. Yeah. And that's why I like movies where people go mad, is because when you get to kind of witness it that way, it's almost strangely euphoric. When you are kind of have your world turned upside down, and when the movie ends, you're just kind of coming out of this fugue state that is, I get endorphins from it. That's why I really like films like that, which is why I have to give a shout out to, I know, Zach, you're not a huge fan of this movie, but A Cure for Wellness is a great movie that shows a character just losing his mind. He loves A Cure for Wellness.
It's my favorite. It was made for me. I fucking love that movie.
Have you seen that, Kristen?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't.
Kristen,
come on,
get
on the eel business.
Oh, I know.
I'll send you the drinking game.
Do you drink, Kristen?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Mick, I developed a drinking game that I played for the first time with Mick when we had a full bottle of tequila and we almost died.
Oh.
It was incredible.
Don't play it with hard liquor.
Okay.
You will die.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a really good one. A Cure for Wellness.
Yes.
I
Yes, it
love that.
is.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to our episode on it. Why don't you?
What about you mentioned it.
For wellness.
Shutter Island.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, and the more like I'm hearing you guys sort of like list off some of your examples, the more I'm realizing I don't know, like it's hard for me not to like look at these movies in terms of like how male characters get gendered in Psychosis and how female characters get gendered in Psychosis, where like I'm scared of women who are going crazy. I'm scared, and now I'm coming into like more of an era where I'm like, I like love that for her. Good for her.
Right.
But like with Shutter Island, you're kind of like scared with your main. You're not really like scared of him or whatever. You're just sort of like scared with.
Right.
Which is like a really fun experience to have.
Yes. Yeah. When the person going mad is the surrogate for the audience.
Right.
That's a whole nother deal.
Yeah. And I also think of like, it's not a horror movie, but like Girl Interrupted.
Well,
we're talking about like, oh my God, if you related to Girl Interrupted as a teenager,
you have mental illness.
You probably have clinical depression.
Yeah.
And that is the litmus test.
That's the litmus test right there.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you relate to this? Yeah. Well.
Alexis knows.
10 out of 10 times relating that to somebody, and they're like, "Oh my God, yeah, I loved Girl Interrupted growing up," and I'm like, "So do you see a therapist too, or what? Like, tell me. Like, are you getting help for your mental
also
illnesses?"
just like an unhealthy relationship, or like an obsession with. I wish I had a relationship with Winona Ryder, but just an obsession with her.
Word.
And my Halloween costume is a Winona Ryder
From
costume this
Heathers,
year.
right?
Yeah, Heathers.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to our Heathers episode.
Yeah.
Heathers.
Well, I think talking about good for her movies is a great transition point into our discussion of our main event film today.
This might be my favorite film we've reviewed from spooky season thus far.
Really?
This is my favorite movie that I saw for the first time this year.
Yeah.
And that is Possession, which is directed by Andrzej Żuławski, and it stars Isabel Adjani and Sam Neill. So I'm gonna rattle off the Google description here.
Here we go, Google.
Interested to see how Google does on this one.
Yeah.
How's Google going to sum this one up? After Anna, Isabella Adjani reveals to her husband Mark, Sam Neill, that she is having an affair, she leaves him and their son. Mark is devastated and seeks out Heinrich, Heinz Bennett, the man who cuckolded him, only to receive a beating. After a series of violent confrontations between Mark and Anna, Mark hires a private investigator to follow her. Anna descends into madness, and it's soon clear that she's hiding a much bigger secret, one that is both inexplicable and shocking.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'll give you that, Google.
You know what, Google? For a movie whose events are so fucking surreal,
Google actually watched Possession.
They watched Possession.
Google heard how good the movie is.
Yeah, they really summed up the first hour
I don't
of this
even
movie
think we
pretty
have
well.
to talk about it now.
Yeah,
That's pretty much it.
All right.
That's great.
Then thank you for listening.
This was a short one.
All right, well, let's start with our guest here.
Yeah.
Kristen, what's your relationship with Possession?
Oh, okay. So I was talking to Mick actually a little before this, and I was explaining, like, you asked me if this was my first time watching the movie, and like in a way it is, but I had, growing up, this thing where I'd constantly stumble upon like old used DVDs in Newbury Comics for those of us from the East Coast, and I'd pick the weird one. So this was one that I found, and like I watched, but like just didn't. I wrote off, didn't understand. And even as an adult...
How old were you when you found
I
it?
must have been like 17, because it was like, when I had my first job or whatever, I was taking my paychecks over to Newbury Comics, and that's where I also found like, Last House on the Left, the original, and I was like, what the fuck? Should not have been watching that. So, the material went like way over my head, and so really this kind of was like a first watch for me. And then I had to watch it again, because this movie does not just a lot, but it's making so much commentary on like the political atmosphere of the time, and then like group family dynamics, and then individual dynamics, and then all of these things all at once, and you're just like. And also nothing makes sense. Like nothing makes any linear sense. It's an art house film. It's just like Google did the best that it could.
Honestly.
To like make factual sense of this movie, but it's interesting, and a lot of different critics have different feelings and opinions about what's going on. A lot of critics think it's like a real antichrist. Some of it's just like, oh, she's going insane. I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about it, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to interpret this film.
Yeah, I guess I wrote a lot of notes, as you can see.
Those are notes?
Oh wow!
Oh yeah!
My god!
These are my scratch notes because I have to work it out. I'm not going to read from it. It's just so that it's in front of my face. But like I guess I don't know. This is definitely a movie where it's good for her, because it's. When you're watching a woman on screen go insane, the way that Isabel Adjani did, which she also suffered greatly in this role post filming, by the way.
Yes, I believe she attempted suicide after that.
She really went through it. But you're watching, at least my read is like you're watching a reaction to, just being forced into roles that you don't want to be forced into, that you're trying to fit this dynamic that doesn't work for you. And I also read, spoiler alert for the end, but I mean, for me, this new perfect Mark that we get at the end through like her really careful, sacrificial offerings to this Antichrist, or this being, really is coming like almost from her, and it's like almost like this biblical like from my rib thing, and like in order for this more perfect Mark to exist, she had to do all of this work and like go insane and become all of these things. So there's just so I have a lot of sympathy for her character in like so many ways. Yeah,
for sure.
Well, real quick thing about the writing of this movie. Apparently, Żuławski took a lot of inspiration from Anna Karenina, because apparently the writing of Anna Karenina, Tolstoy was trying to write a novel against women, where a woman leaves her good husband and her sweet son for some nobody, and through that process she destroys the lives of the husband, the son, and the nobody. But Tolstoy was like, as I was writing this novel, the woman became kind of beautiful and profound and kind of a victim in some ways, and the men all become uglier. And I think that absolutely happens throughout Possession, because when you know, the first time I saw this, you know, the opening of the movie, I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, why is she doing this? Like, you know, she's not giving any reasons. It doesn't make any sense. And like, the more you watch it, you're like, oh, Sam Neill's a fucking maniac.
Yeah, he is unhinged.
Like, he's like beating the shit out of her.
Yeah, like
first
and like even before that, just I think that scene where he beats her opens with him like rocking back and forth in the chair with this fucking Kubrick stare, and I'm like, ugh, get the fuck away from this guy. And like, you know, there are like actions she takes and that are like, you know, monstrous, but like you do get this feeling of like, this is what she has to do. Alexis, had you seen this before?
No, I had never seen this before.
What you think?
Yeah.
Well, of all the movies I've seen this year, it probably is one of the more fucked up ones. I don't know that I will rewatch this movie just because it's a little overstimulating for me with all the yelling. I don't know. I'm like hashtag triggered by all the fucking family dynamic shit. But Zach, do you remember that video that I sent you like maybe like a week or two ago that was like talking about how so many like movies about like women and like actually truly understanding them are seen through the lens of like a male director, male writer, and the woman is only actualized through violence upon her? Did you watch that? Did you watch that video that I sent you? Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I was like, we should have that lady on the show.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's very interesting when you talk about the Tolstoy thing, because like I've seen Anna Karenina. I've never read the book, but like I don't know. I find it fascinating that like the only way for like a man to like understand the complexities of a woman is to enact the violence of patriarchy upon her as a character, and then to realize, oh, actually, this all makes so much more sense, you know? And I feel like that kind of is a little bit how I see like Possession in a way is, you know, like I think Mark, is the husband's name Mark? What was his name?
Mark,
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I think she comes home and she's like trying to do something for her son, and this is before she's like fully descended into madness. And she's just like, I just want to do things for him. And he's like, you only want to make him snacks and read him stories. And in my head, I was like, yeah, because those are the fun things of being a parent. Those are the actual like enjoyable things. Nobody enjoys the not fun things of being a parent. What the fuck is your problem? You know? I don't know. Mark's a dick. I fucking hate that guy. He deserved what came to him.
He's so good, though. I fucking love Sam Neill
so
in this
good.
movie.
Also,
it's his best performance.
Seems possessed
Jurassic
at the beginning of it.
In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah, like at the beginning, it seems like it's all him instead of like, you know, he has this like 3-week period where like he's literally just in a room and he's like rocking around and like going all crazy and shit. And then you see this
covered in stains
from her
and shit.
like later on, but it started with him. Somebody tell me more about that. Someone explain that to me.
He also he's definitely a character in motion. And he's kind of, I don't know if you know this, but he noticed this, but he stops doing that stuff but like almost exactly after we get Doppelganger Anna.
Yes.
And Doppelganger Anna comes in and she is literally in like virginal white. Mm-hmm. And like she is like the meek and mild version of this other Anna that we have, mm-hmm. and he's suddenly just like, cool, take my kid and like
give my child a bath.
Right. Yeah, here you go, teach. I don't know, I don't know how that would shake out in like 2023. But like he's suddenly like, okay, now I can handle the rest of my life because there is a woman holding down the fort in an otherwise crumbling house situation. Yeah.
I mean, it's just his idealized version of his wife, that he can project all of his hopes and admiration for things getting better in his life. This woman that doesn't actually exist because he's just projecting the image of his perfect wife onto her. It's fucking typical.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also this really great like moment in one of Anna's monologues where she says, "You're looking at me as if you need to tell me that you need to fill me up." And that like really, as if I'm an empty space. That's like really like that. I honestly think that's like on the nose for what Mark is constantly trying to do with her. And like, it's so weird because she'll come out of like her psychosis or like her possession, if you want it to be like a literal possession, to like say these like really salient like observations about her own life. And you're like, yes, okay, now like run away. Like, and she doesn't. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's, such a like good multifaceted title for the movie because like that's what Mark wants for Anna. He wants to possess her. He wants to, that's, you said, fill her up and like, make her this, empty shell for what he wants. And there's a lot of comments about like equating evil with freedom, which I think is really interesting. It's like, Mark's conception of what's evil about his wife is that she is trying to, be emancipated and live her life and, chop people up in an apartment. And I think she's allowed to.
I mean, like there's literally like a parallel line drawn between the Antichrist and her trying to leave him. Like that's like the constant.
And you have that.
And also he begins to become more, I think, feel empowered. And as you said, like he begins to kind of drift away from his insanity when he really realizes that things are really falling apart for Anna. When he realizes that things are just really, really, really not going her way, he becomes more emboldened, especially after meeting the doppelganger, where it's this kind of twofer where he feels even more powerful knowing that, her life is fucking falling apart. Good kind of thing, which he's such a bastard in this film. Yeah. It's really, really good.
The glee on his face when he gives Heinrich Anna's address is like haunting. He's like writhing around on the ground like a snake when he finds out that Heinrich has been stabbed.
Bleed a while.
I'll be there when I can.
I'll be there when I can. Fucking crazy. So my relationship with Possession is very similar to Zach. We watched it together, I think, for the first time.
And for the second time.
Just scrolling Shudder, and it was one of those things where you just come across a masterpiece.
Well, and I think it was literally like very recently made available to watch in the States again.
Yes.
Like,
because this was banned when it came out, and also re-edited, where they cut out so much of the relationship trauma that they really just tried to make it like a monster flick. Apparently it was really, really bad. The French loved it. The French really loved it. It won an award at Cannes.
But it didn't win the top prize at Cannes, which Andrzej Żuławski, close to his death, he died in 2017, I think.
Oh, okay.
But
Isabelle Adjani
she won
Best Actress.
Yeah, and he fucking had a bunch of mean shit to say about her when I was watching the behind the scenes.
Yeah. Well, it was also, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off too. It's just also, I thought I read or heard that he wrote a lot of this because he was like also going through a divorce of his own.
Yep.
It's
So
a perfect allegory for a toxic marriage.
Yeah.
Well, he was like talking about how a similar thing as to the beginning of the movie happened to him, where his wife, who was an actress, left him for some guy who he described as being like Heinrich. And I'm like, okay, that's a little editorializing, buddy.
Yeah, I want to let you finish your thoughts, but I do have thoughts on Heinrich too.
Well, I was just going to say something I was going to add about the fact that Andrzej Żuławski was going through a divorce or had just gone through one. The movie starts with Mark, Sam Neill, getting to West Berlin. And she's immediately like, look, you've been gone so long. This is not good for Bob, the young boy, their child. and you being gone for so long, like, I need a change. Like, this isn't happening anymore. I still need to decide. And that is like, that's got to be what happened to Andrzej Żuławski, where before this, he was doing this big sci-fi epic in Poland, and he was gone for so long.
Well, and production on that was paused, I think.
It was everything was burned by the Soviet state.
The Polish state was like, this seems political.
Right, exactly. And so I can only imagine that him coming home to his wife being like, look, this is bullshit. I deserve better than this. I deserve a real life, is almost exactly how this movie opens. Because really, this movie is about a breakup. This whole movie is about a divorce. And the traumatic fighting and the ugliness that will come from that, that can, in this film, manifest itself into almost a physical being, into physical pain, is fascinating to see. And it's interesting because, again, we have Temple of Doom, which is a movie that was the result of a white man going through a divorce, and we have Possession, and
Possession's a better one.
It's a better movie, but they're both fucked up.
Yeah.
But Zach, what about you? Take it away.
Yeah, again, we watched this together on Shudder at the beginning of the year. We then promptly went and saw a screening of it at Alamo Drafthouse. I mean, like, it is just a fucking, like, hypnotic, disturbing movie that I love because it is, like, this weird one-time... Because Żuławski never made another English language movie, but it's this weird marriage of, like, French art house and, like... or, just European art house cinema and, like, American fucking, like, creature effect. Because, like, he tried to, him and his producer, whose name I cannot remember, they saw Alien, and they were like, okay, we need this guy. We need H.R. Geiger to make our monster. And they tried to get him, but he was working on 2 different movies. So he put them in touch with Carlo Rambaldi.
He was in prep on Species.
Species was a little later. But he put them in touch with Carlo Rambaldi, who's a fucking Dino De Laurentiis guy.
Yeah.
Who, as I've probably brought up before, is the, guy who eventually, like, got really involved with the Evil Dead. Like, he was this Italian schlock master who... got a lot of, like, big Hollywood guys' careers started. Like, I think he was big in getting James Cameron's career started, because I think Piranha 2, The Spawning, is a De Laurentiis joint.
I love that they got Carlos to do the creature effects for this, because he had done E.T., so the guy who made E.T. is the same guy who made
this would have been this was the year before E.T.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, well, apparently, because funding got pulled on this movie initially, and they were trying to shop the script around. Żuławski and his co-writer, who was an American guy. They were trying to shop this script around, and they pitched it to Paramount as a movie about a woman who fucks an octopus. And they didn't go for that.
They didn't go for it, no.
Shocking.
But, it is just this weird marriage between these two things. There's a really funny story the producer of this movie told where... they, had to ship in all of the, like, parts for the monster to Berlin where they were shooting, and they had, like, gotten like a signed document from, like, the consulate of Berlin being like, okay, customs guys just, like, listen to these people, do whatever they want. But they show up with, like, fucking 6 coffins. And they're like, okay, well, we gotta look in those. And they're like, okay, but we got this letter. And they're like, yeah, but we gotta look in those.
Look into
and they crack it open. It's just all fucking meat and tentacles. And they're like, all right, have a nice day.
Yeah.
But yeah, there aren't any other movies like this, and I love that we have it.
Yeah, same. I love too that when Carlos, the guy who does creature effects for it, he landed.
It's Carlo.
When he landed, he asked apparently Andre. It's like, all right, I have a design that I've done mostly. You want to take a look at it? And it was in the trunk of a car. And Andres, they opened the trunk, and he said it looked like a giant condom. It was really just this giant penis. And he's like, it looks like a penis. He's like, well, yeah, the producer told me that it was a symbol for, a sexual being. And he's like, okay, yeah, a penis isn't the symbol. That's just a sexual organ that you made. He's like, okay, well, I can rework the design. When do we start shooting? And Andres goes, tomorrow. We start shooting tomorrow. And he goes, what? What about prep? I got like 6 weeks on Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And Andres was like, hey, this isn't Hollywood, okay? This is a European film. We're going to do this tomorrow. And so he was up all night with a couple of other special effects guys, and they ended up making the creature that you see the second time.
The one that looks like a penis?
The one you see the first time was the first one.
The second one also looks like a penis.
Well, it has a bit more...
It's more humanoid.
It's more humanoid.
It's like a man penis.
Sure, yeah.
It's like a cult leader.
Yes, exactly. A cult leader penis. Exactly.
Oh, much bigger. Excuse me.
Right, exactly. But yeah, the fact Andre said that as soon as he was like forced to the wire of like, okay, you have to create a new creature, he was like super inspired. Like, okay, let's do this. And he was up all night and he made it. And something I had not noticed until watching it this third time was like, the more you see the creature, whether it's the Antichrist or it's God, as Heinrich says.
No, I think that's
Mark who says
Mark
that.
Maybe you saw God and
right,
you didn't even know it.
He is slowly morphing more and more into Mark, where the scene where we see her having sex with the creature, he now has a head of hair. Very similar to Mark's and stuff. And then you see the perfect Mark. And so it's been morphing into Mark. I had never gotten that before.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the third viewing I was like, holy shit, okay.
It wasn't until my second viewing of that scene, too, where it's, like, really evident that she's, like, crucified underneath him. Like, it's like she is, like, her actual literal positioning is,
wow.
And she just keeps saying almost. Like, not it just sort of saying like, okay, the process is almost complete and I'm sacrificial and I'm you know, it's like very, I didn't catch it the first time.
That's fascinating. Yeah. Alexis.
Yeah, whatchamacallit, I talk to my sister about these things a lot. Like, you know, so like watch a lot of videos on therapy and other things, blah, blah, blah. But like, you know, one thing that I watched a few months ago that I discussed like really deeply with my sister was the idea that no matter what happens when you get into like a heteronormative relationship, there's always going to be a layer of misogyny within that relationship. And it's inescapable. Even the people that think that they're, you know, above that or have done work, you know, no matter what, there's always more work to do, you know, and some people become content or complacent with not doing that work. And I use this analogy with my sister's like past relationships where I'd be like, yeah, it's like you have your cup. And every time their cup is getting empty, you take your cup and you start to fill theirs a little bit. And you just keep filling their cup with a little bit more of your cup. And then eventually they're surprised when the relationship is over because your cup is empty and you literally have nothing left to give them because you've been giving them so much over the course of the relationship. You haven't been like filling your own cup of things that like you need. So like seeing her as this like sacrificial lamb in order to create her own perfect idealized version of her husband made a lot of sense to me because it's literally the whole act of her marriage was just every time his cup was empty to keep filling it at the expense of herself, you know, to help him. And that's the whole thing is this whole movie. He's like, I just want to understand. And she keeps trying to, you know, explain to him, like, you know, this is just like how I am. This is what I want. And he won't see it that way, you know? And so her cup is just, it's emptying and emptying and emptying. It's being eaten alive. And, you know, and the physical representation of that is like the monster. But one of the other things that I thought was,
quick follow-up.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just a quick follow-up question on that. What does your shirt say, Alexis?
Oh, it says, wish you were gay.
There we go.
Ain't that the truth? Please continue. I'm sorry. That just felt perfect.
Side note, this is a song by an artist named Claude. I believe they're non-binary. But yeah, very good song, very cute music video if you're ever interested in watching it. But yeah, another thing I thought was really interesting about the movie is how she lives on the fringes of, is it West Berlin? Like right by the Berlin Wall, you know? So
right by the wall.
Yeah, so
they really shot there.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very interesting to have that like physical representation to be on the edges of escaping somewhere. And to literally be living in like a desolate, decrepit area just to have like a shred of freedom. I don't know. Did you guys think anything about the Berlin Wall aspect?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well,
perfect setting.
You're completely right. I think her other apartment where the Antichrist is housed, like I think there is a shot where you can literally see the wall.
Yes.
Over there, but also just like in the spacing in the framing of the movie. So like the scene where Anna and Mark meet for coffee in that coffee shop, they sit at an angle, not with each other, and then like everyone else in that. The few people that are there are all super spread out, and like it was like my read that was also sort of speaking to like the divide between East and West Berlin at the time, and like the like physical distance that people constantly had from each other and their neighbors, as well as the like emotional and mental distance that Mark and Anna are now contending with each other in. Like that was something that I really like saw in like pretty much every frame. It's just everyone is so alone, all of the time. And it's sad.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's again why I think East and West Berlin being there is such a perfect setting for this story, because it is about people that are together, but there's a divorce here, where there's a kind of power struggle that's without these people's control. That's out of these people's control, and it's a city that is by definition divided.
Yeah.
And at one point it was whole, but now it's, as Alexis, you put it, it's a sad, dingy, it almost feels cancerous.
Well, it's interesting because Żuławski talked about that a little bit. He talks about how one thing that he was interested about in this movie is like, he said that growing up in communist Poland, and it's something that I don't remember the teacher's name, the sort of Anna doppelganger says, is that where she comes from, evil is real. You can see it. And that was something that he talked about, where it's like, this system where ideologically, the ideology of communism is completely opposed to the practices of the government of Poland. And like these people who enforce this are like evil. You can see them.
Yeah.
Yet evil also exists in, the Western world, in countries where Żuławski would want to live. So it's kind of talking about, is evil this thing from without us? Or,
is it
within, or is it something that infects us and grows within us from without to within? Right. And he talks about how Berlin is, West Berlin was kind of the perfect setting for this, because you have all of these kind of like modernist, high-rise, buildings that look at place in a, quote-unquote developed country in 1981, which is like where Mark and Anna are living at the beginning. But then you also have this Turkish district right by the wall, where, the buildings are all kind of, crumbling and kind of imposing, and they're right by this big empty wasteland between the wall and East Berlin. So that's part of why he talked about why he shot it there. And also the first shot of the movie is a cross for people who died trying to get over the wall. The first shots of the movies are all the wall.
It is fascinating. This movie is a very interesting time capsule, because the guards that you see on the wall, like through the window of this house, those are real East Berlin guards. Like that was just kind of like documentary footage that they were just getting, because they actually shot there. And it just adds this whole level to the film that is so it's so avant-garde. It just helps with the whole vibe of everything, and just makes This is just such a sad film.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think also just like the death scenes in the movie really just make you feel sad. Like when one of the detectives tells Anna, like, I'm looking for somebody. Have you seen him? And like, comes to realize that was his partner too. You learn like
I live with this person.
Yeah. And that's also just another sidebar really quick. I want to talk about it. How interestingly progressive and European this movie is in some ways. And then how also, how rife with misogyny, this movie can be, but just in general, like this, the scene, in the apartment when, this man whose name it's not Zimmerman, it's, his partner dies.
Right.
And just like how like there's like a moment of realization on his face and how like quickly and violently the shots are delivered on his death. It's so like raw and not campy and not pretentious and not dramatic. It just is, and it's just so so sad.
That's something I like you're touching on that, because so often, part of why I like spooky season is because you get to watch a movie like, Nightmare on Elm Street. You get to watch some kind of kooky, fun 80s horror films where there is a lot of catharsis in the violence. Where as John Carpenter said, making The Thing, that, everyone on set gets really excited when the blood and the guts come out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of what makes
Texas Chainsaw 2.
Yeah. It's fun. Like, it's a fun time. But in this film, the violence that's depicted, especially with the detective and with Zimmerman and the domestic abuse that happens against Anna, there is nothing cathartic about this. And I like how they portray the violence, because it really adds to that level of madness, where this is getting incredibly destructive to everyone involved, just like East and West Berlin. It's like there's nothing fun about this. We're not depicting, someone when Anna stabs the detective with a shattered wine bottle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a fucked up scene. Like, every time I see it, I'm like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
This is tough. And then Zimmerman, when she's beating him over the head with those milk bottles and then steals his own gun and shoots him. I mean, it honestly, this movie, those sequences, and then especially like the almost like pseudo car chase sequence in the end reminds me of a Friedkin film.
Yeah.
Where it's very gritty. It's very 70s.
The car chase is kind of fun, though.
It's very nihilistic.
It's kind of fun. There's a lot of explosions.
I love when the movie gets to that point, because those car crashes are legit. Like when he's like, I'll pay you if you just crash into like the back of that police car.
I don't think he does say he'll pay him.
No,
he just has a gun on him.
He says drive, I think.
Yeah, he says,
hit it.
Crash into that police car.
Interesting. But yeah, when the car like comes back, you can see the camera, like he's filming it shoulder rig, and then he's like kind of like the camera comes back all of a sudden, because I don't think that car was meant to like come back that much. Where they're just basically crashing cars together and capturing what they can. But then that scene when Mark gets Heinrich's motorcycle and then is driving it away, and that epic shot of him going through the corridors and he's screaming and he's laughing, and this maniacal laughter is just like, oh my gosh, so good.
I want to touch just one more thing on in terms of violence in the movie. This scene with the electric knife. In the kitchen, and in terms of like how Anna hurts herself, and how like Mark eventually, like he in the rest of the movie kind of tries to follow in her footsteps, to like he has to try really hard to understand her, and so she cuts herself with the electric knife, and then after he like gets her situated and whatever, cleans her up, he goes back into the kitchen and he picks it up and he brings it to his own flesh. And she kind of just like watches him from the corner. And like from that moment on, there are just like scenes where he tries to like join her in the madness he thinks he understands, but like can't fully comprehend. I heard someone else on a different podcast actually frame it as like he thinks he's in a thriller and not a horror movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like, he has like all these super failed attempts at like understanding and connecting with her that it has to involve violence, and it's like violence becomes a love language that they both try to learn with each other.
Yeah.
Especially what Mark does to Heinrich in the bathroom.
Yes.
Can we talk? Oh, go ahead, Alexis.
It's definitely, that's what I wanted to talk about earlier, was the codependency that starts to form about midway through the movie. And because by the end of it, he's just like, well, that's my girl. I'm gonna, blow up this fucking apartment to cover her tracks. I'm gonna take Marge. I'm gonna, put her here. I'm gonna, draw the police away. Like, he's just fully like, yeah, actually, you know what? It's bad, but can it be that bad? We can still be together.
He's cosplaying Thelma and Louise, and does not understand.
I thought of that movie Thelma and Louise when I was watching this. That's interesting.
I do. Two of my favorite scenes though are the ballet scene where she's like abusing this poor small child and just like lifting her leg higher and higher until the child is literally like crying out because like she's in so much pain from holding the position. And she has this whole like kind of monologue about how like, you have to be perfect. You have to be better than you ever thought you could be. You have to break your own body, like, in order to become this perfect dancer. And I wish somebody had told me that. And it's just like, obviously it's a representation of, her relationship with Mark, in that nobody told her it would be this hard to be what somebody else needed them to be, which is why I really love the second scene too. Wait, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I didn't want to cut you off. I love that scene too, because it also feels like the unceremonious thing that we do to each other as women. Like, we teach whoever, if it's our kid, it's our kid. If it's our niece, our whatever, we teach each other to hold pain. And that's like really how that read, so that little girl will one day also maybe enter like a heterosexual relationship in which she's prepared to hold and push pain. There's also a moment after she drops that girl's leg where Anna turns to another ballerina and is like, you did a really good job. And that's when the girl who she was holding the leg, that's when she like runs out, and it's so psychologically fucked. It's so mean. It's so fucked up.
Yeah, ballet class is fucked up, isn't it, Alexis?
It is.
No.
It is.
I did ballet.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
But, the other scene that I really like
really bad.
is the fucking where she's going through the tunnel and she's literally just like flinging herself against all the walls in this like absolute descent completely into madness in that moment. Like she's throwing things up, things are oozing from her body. She's undergoing some sort of a transformation, which is why I think it's very interesting.
I believe it's a miscarriage.
It's what?
Yeah.
It's a miscarriage that she's having.
Yeah, she said she miscarried.
Sister Faith and Sister Chance. Sister Chance was left. Yeah, that was a one take scene aside from the safety shot they had. Which
they didn't use.
Which they didn't use. Yeah. And then fucking she tells Mark all of that shit about the miscarriage, and he goes, "You seem more vulgar to me." For the first time, like he's just like, "You're disgusting."
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And it's.
Like, sorry, like the miscarriage, like the ooze and the viscera in that scene looks a whole hell of a lot like the monster in the apartment.
Oh yeah.
And then Mark's reaction to her as that's like, now you're disgusting. Like you can do whatever you've done up to this point, but now you're in that camp of woman who's disgusting because you haven't like fulfilled or carried forth your bodily requirements.
Exactly.
The most damaging thing you could fucking say.
Isn't that so tragic? It's like the moment that because she's already broken the idea of a virtuous woman. She's broken that at the very beginning, but now she's broken the other unspoken rule of a woman, which is to be fertile and nurturing. And if your body can't even be nurturing is kind of, I think, how Mark is thinking, there's just something abnormal about you, now I see that actually, that maybe your body has rejected it because you yourself are disgusting and vulgar and abnormal,
Yeah, and it's forgivable. Like, if cheating on me is one thing because I can just repossess you. Like, you know, like you strayed, but I can like repossess you. But if your body's broken, if you're, you know, like if you can't do that, I can't fucking fix that. Yeah. Now you're gross. I hate you.
Yeah. Now there's something completely unfixable about
I also.
Yeah.
I think it's another interesting thing that I got from watching the making of on this was kind of the connection drawn between like Anna trying to explain what's going on with her in that video, and then those words not really sufficing for you to understand, and it's her expressing the same thing in the miscarriage scene, but like you get the emotion of that now. You understand what's going on with her because it's so fucking raw and physical and visceral.
Well, it's fascinating. What triggers that, well, I don't know if it triggers it, but the scene before the subway tunnel scene, she's in a church and she's looking up at the crucifix and she's just kind of groaning like she's in pain, or she's moaning like she's in euphoria, and then you get that very long tracking shot, which I really think is my favorite scene in the whole film, because I remember when I first saw that with Isabella on Johnny giving maybe one of the most haunting, demented performances I've ever seen an actress give. Just completely unsettling. Like, I think, you watch a lot of horror movies of possession or someone dealing with demons or whatever, and it can be terrifying. But this was like one of the few times I'll just watch an actor give a performance where it really feels like you are witnessing something that you should not be watching. That something really terrifying is happening. In fact, one of my favorite film critics, Mark Kermode, has talked about the subway scene as being one of the most singular terrifying just collapse of a character that he's ever seen in film. Why he loves Possession. It's one of his favorite pictures. And it's just incredible. And that was apparently, I think, the last shot that they filmed in the whole production was that. And it was the director described it as the movie was continuing, Isabella was getting more and more in touch with insanity or becoming out of touch, and it wasn't soon after they wrapped that scene that she tried to take her own life. Just fucking crazy to think about, and makes the scene even less I'm not just gonna say fun, but just less entertaining to watch, knowing that she's really just putting everything into this. Fucking incredible. Really incredible scene. Absolutely terrible. But you wanted to talk about Heinrich.
I need to talk about Heinrich.
We have to talk about Heinrich.
I love Heinrich. He's the funniest man in the world. He is so fucking funny. His little fucking karate moves when he first
it's incredible.
meets Mark. Immediately when he meets Mark, he's like
flirtatious aspect.
We don't have to be brutal to each other.
We can be lovers.
We don't have to be impolite even. Like, just immediately fucking feeling Mark up, then fucking does a weird little karate move and fucking boots him in the nose. And then, like, when he no longer is in contact with Anna and he comes to see Mark, and he's on something. Which I think it's fair to gather that since he's
he's on drugs.
Yeah, he's for sure. He's just like flopping around the walls of this like apartment building.
We
like
have
literally
to talk
just
about this unholy shape we find ourselves in, the triangle.
The triangle. Just like spinning around the walls.
But that was
such an entertaining performance.
The actor Heinz Bennett, who plays Heinrich, that scene in the apartment hallway is like a dance between him, Sam Neill, and the cameraman. The way he's moving himself throughout the space, and the camera is just kind of following in this.
Well, it's part of why they used these wide focus lenses, because they wanted actors to be able to
do that,
move with freedom.
Apparently,
and to capture everything.
Heinz Bennett is straight out of the Berlin theater scene.
Yes.
And I think Andres described him as a very pretentious fellow, but he gave good performances.
That's even Heinrich, the character, he is the guy in your college dorm a few doors down who, it's that like constant like that trope of like, guy drops acid one time and gains basic human empathy, and like that's Heinrich. He's just like, my drugs from India, and also like I'm above all of this mortal plane and we can be all lovers and whatever. And like, that's fine. Honestly, it was mostly fine and funny and great until the point where he's like so horny.
I've waited long enough. Yeah.
He's like, the only person that has rights to you is me because I claim no rights on you. And it's that moment where you're like, oh no, this was such a forward European,
fun character,
sexually fluid character.
No, he's a fucking scumbag too.
Asshole.
Yeah.
You're doing.
Him with his yin-yang balls hanging from his zen brain.
Men are disappointing. I'm waiting for this one to also come out with it. Give it to me.
Yeah. I read... Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. No.
I read someone's read of the ballet scene. So when he is forcing himself upon her, pinning her against the wall, he takes out that little packet of drugs from India, I guess it is.
Yeah.
That... it was a critic said that they kind of read the ballet scene with him filming it and having sent it to Mark as something that Heinrich likes to do is give these drugs to Anna and like the ballet girls and to film them in this fugue state. Which is
That's
a
interesting.
possible read of that scene. I'm not sure. I don't know if I agree with that, but I thought that was kind of an interesting way of looking about how manipulative this guy really is.
Well, I thought it was just more like of him being like, haha, look at me and your wife.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's kind of what I gathered too. Also, I made a note. I was sipping a little bit of wine as I watched this movie last
As
night.
one does.
There's a note that I made when in that scene where he comes to, essentially force himself on Anna. He says something about how he's going to show her absolutely unknown horizons. And I'm like, buddy, guess again. You don't even know the horizons you're about to see, fucker.
idea.
Get ready.
Yeah.
It is kind of the one really satisfying moment of violence in the movie when she stabs him.
Yeah.
Zach.
I also, yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
Oh, no. I mean, putting aside, like, that moment of assholery, I also kind of read, like, the relationship between a character like Heinrich and then Anna and, the struggle that Anna and Mark are having is sort of, like, Heinrich's death is almost necessitated because he's, like, sexually liberated and free and not married and living with his mom or whatever, and, like, we can't really accept those things if we're trying to like live within like a heteronormative structure, the way that Mark is trying to force Anna to live within. And so like that was sort of like a representational like dynamic that I read that I'm not completely sure. And the same thing with the detectives too. Their deaths were almost necessary. They were a gay couple. Like
That's a fascinating read because I also was kind of looking at this like Mark being an image of monogamy, really struggling with polyamory, and him viewing that as this horrendous evil thing. And then you have someone like Heinrich who is sleeping with his wife, and then he meets him, and now suddenly Heinrich wants to maybe fuck me. It's like, Jesus Christ, this is too much for poor little Mark. And then the gay detective couple.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if that's kind of an intentional thing. Again, as much as I love this film, I do think it is interesting that there are, so many. It's the Tolstoy thing. It's the Anna Karenina thing.
Yeah.
There are so many like interesting layers and like complexities to this female character in a movie that is made by a guy who seems like a fucking misogynist. Listening to Żulawski's comments, particularly about Johnny, I'm like, fucking
what I was
Jesus,
trying to talk
dude.
about right now. What did he say about her? That's what I want to know now. Like, what did he say?
He made some comment about how an actor trying to commit suicide. It's not a serious thing. And he's also like she's so vain. She's now trying to look younger than her children. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude.
Guillotine.
Okay. See,
he's dead. He's dead.
Okay, this is why I watched this movie with my friend, and then like we finished it, and we both kind of looked at each other, and we were just like, "Wow, that was really fucked up." All right. Okay. I was like, I really liked that. It was a good movie. I don't think I'm ever going to watch it again. No, I'm never going to watch that again. Because throughout the movie, there were these little things that like certain characters would say that to me sounded like that this might be what the director thinks. Little comments here and there that I'm like, this sounds representative of like how they view things. And no matter that this is a very impressive allegory for a toxic marriage, and there's a lot of things that we can pick from it. At the end of the day, like that miscarriage scene is, you're right, Mick. It's so incredible. The fact that is like basically just one fucking take that they did is wow. Like, she really just threw everything of herself into that scene, and it really just truly comes across. And for somebody to make those kind of comments, that 100% shows me that no matter how artistic
it's ironic.
You are trying to explore the dynamic of your failed marriage, I know exactly why your marriage failed. Because you have no compassion for women.
I'm not surprised, Andre.
Exactly. I'm like.
It's interesting.
No, yeah.
It's interesting that like
I got nothing to give you, Andre.
His surrogate, like his surrogate character, basically Mark is like, such a like. Just like repugnant piece of shit who, I don't think the film really wants you to like Mark. There's a point where he's literally like, I'm at war against women, but it is that thing where it's like, you can be aware that you're a piece of shit, but that doesn't mean you're doing any work on it.
Right.
Because
this is an easier movie to enjoy when the director is dead.
Bringing it back to Tolstoy, no matter the revelation that this man had about, oh my God, women are actually complex characters too, and I can't just make her the villain because she's actually become real. He still fucking kills her at the end. He has her jump in front of a fucking train to kill herself because she's literally living in shame from all of the things that happened. So he literally, in his final act of, compassion for her character, he still fucking kills her off in a violent act of the patriarchy in many ways. So it's the same thing with fucking Andres. I'm just like, this fucking woman shot herself and her fucking husband. I'm not fucking watching that again. Fuck that. Fuck your fucking marriage, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Sam Neill has said that he's incredibly proud of being a part of this film. He says it's one of the few masterpieces that he's been in, but it's deeply flawed masterpiece, his words. And he said that it was a very uncomfortable set to be on because of Andre's directing style, where he was very intense. And the scene where Anna is getting slapped, Andres went up to him and said, so you're going to have to actually hit her. You need to hit her. And Sam Neill was like, I'm absolutely not doing that. I'm never going to do that. No, we're going to fake it. We're going to do it this way. And Andres like stormed off, talked a bit, and then Isabella Anjani comes up to him and says, what is this shit I'm hearing that you're not going to hit me? I need you to hit me for this. And that scene that you watch in the film is Sam Neill actually hitting her.
Oh my God.
And it's really fucked up. And that's why Sam Neill's like, that was, he said, like the rock bottom of his career.
Yeah, I wouldn't be happy about that either.
So you're saying like, post film, he's saying all this like awful shit about her, and also you made when you're talking about like the prosthetics and special effects, you were saying like someone on set made the comment that this is a European movie, not a Hollywood movie.
Right.
This is so Hollywood, and I wanna give you like I was writing about this, and again in preparing for today, but like I don't know if you guys know about, have you seen Whatever Happened to Baby Jane?
No, I need to though. That's been on my list forever.
Okay, because
Betty Davis, right?
Yeah, Betty Davis and Joan Crawford, and there was this whole thing like leading up on the run up to this film, and Jack Warner, who like made a ton of money off of both of their careers. Mm-hmm. When he was approached with the film, said he, quote, wouldn't give you one dime for those two washed up old bitches. And that was after, and I got that quote, by the way, from a really great zine called Mentally Unbalanced and Violent, the Hagsploitation film by Chris Rose. She's a friend of mine, and it's really good. Yeah. But and I say that to say, like, it's so infuriating to, like, hear anybody on that side be like, oh, we're a European film, not a Hollywood film, when they're, like, literally in their behavior and their filming and the content acting exactly like
continuing the toxic tradition.
Fucking guy in Hollywood. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Sorry, that makes me so angry.
No, yeah. Well, no, it's not a Hollywood film because there's no unions.
Oh, yeah, right.
That's what it is.
Oh my God.
But they had Paramount money.
No, I don't think they did. They tried to get Paramount money, but they didn't.
Oh, I thought they did.
I don't think so.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Paramount passed. I think they got funding from France.
I will say this movie reminds me very much of a Kubrick film in terms of its nihilism and also with how gorgeous this film is.
You know,
it's shot so well, and it was Isabella Adjani's husband during the filming that is the DP.
Oh wow!
Apparently, he was the one that convinced her to actually take the part because she didn't want to do it initially. And I am always in awe of how this movie is framed. It's one of the most beautiful restorations of a film I've seen. It looks like it could have been shot yesterday. Mm-hmm. It's so well lit.
It reminds me a lot of Yorgos Lanthimos.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Who also kind of reminds me of Kubrick.
Yeah, well,
the thing that reminds me of Lanthimos is just, both the kind of like coldness and like precision of the framing.
Yeah.
And the fact that this is in the canon of movies where everyone is off.
Yes.
Just everyone is creepy. Everyone is behaving how no person would.
I would say
A Cure for Wellness is in there.
Except for Zimmerman
is kind of the one human being.
Yeah, it's also a scene that very much reminds me of Kubrick is the cafe scene where Mark loses it and just starts throwing furniture, and then the wait staff and the cooks all tackle him to the ground. I mean, that's straight out of Barry Lyndon. I mean, it's just like that scene in Barry Lyndon where
haven't seen it.
You haven't seen that?
I've told you this on this podcast multiple times.
I know, but it hasn't changed yet.
Yeah, well, it'll change. You'll be so excited when it does.
It's so beautiful. It's a breathtaking thing to behold. But then I also want to talk about the ending really quickly because the second time I watched it with Uzak at the Alamo, I really did interpret it as the Antichrist has been manifested through the perfect mark, because when he's at the door just kind of clawing at it, and you have this beautiful light show in Isabella Adjani's eyes of missiles and bullets and basically what sounds like the apocalypse outside of Armageddon, little Bob is going, don't open it, don't open it, don't open it. And he's running upstairs, and then he submerges himself in the bathwater as you hear what sounds like World War III happening outside with the doppelganger looking just completely mesmerized. And I initially kind of read that as, okay, the Antichrist has been formed, now it's the end of the world. But on the third viewing, you didn't feel like that at all. So, like, how do we, as viewers here, kind of interpret the very ending of this film? If anyone wants to go ahead and jump on that.
I guess on my second watch was when I realized that Bob actually dies. Like he doesn't just like hide in the bathwater.
Yeah, he drowns.
My first walk through, I was like, oh, he's hiding in the bath. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't want to like think about the fact that I just like watched a kid pretend to drown himself. But
wow, my head goes to worse places. That's what I picked up on the first view.
I don't know.
Really?
Maybe
I was like, that kid's dead.
I still have never gotten that until just now when you said that. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, and in that way, like, I don't know, for me, I don't know, I resist a little bit of the Antichrist thing, which I get it, it's there. There's a lot of like overt like Christian.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah, I really resist it, even though like clearly like I think they even use the word Antichrist throughout the film in different places, but like for me, it just doesn't feel right for that to fit. And I guess maybe it's more like, I don't know, like, is it possible to raise children? Is it possible to be a perfect ideal, like heteronormative family? And my answer to that is no. And so therefore it's also just not possible to like raise healthy, happy, alive kids by forcing more perfect versions of straight people to exist.
Right.
I don't know. That's like the best that I can make out of the ending of that. Although, yeah, the missiles and like imagery and sound certainly sound a lot like the apocalypse. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't really quite figured out. That's just like the best I can do.
But it's definitely not literal.
Yeah.
I don't think so either.
I could not really make heads or tails of that. I didn't really think of it really as the Antichrist either. But I also did not realize that Bob would have died. I also thought he was just hiding, but obviously I've only seen it the one time. But I think that makes sense because at the very end, Anna shoots her and Mark. So it's the two people that did care for each other, did love each other, have now fully died. And in doing so, they have doomed their child to die as well, which makes a lot of sense because, like, if you have something bad enough go on for long enough, you can't stay a child throughout that. So, you know, maybe that's just the literal representation of losing your childhood through, you know, having to watch abusive relationships in your life. But yeah, I also could not quite make heads or tails of, you know, the idealized version of Mark coming for the wife, the woman in the wife's image. I mean, I guess that is the person who who really loses out was the wife, because her idealized version of her husband gets to fucking go back and it's just like bop 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 bop, let me in. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
it just comes back to another thing Żuławski said, which is I dare you to give a coherent explanation of the thing, but I also dare you to give a coherent explanation of evil. So like, you know, ultimately I don't know that we're going to get there with the ending, but I do think that that's like interesting points made about like the, you know, nature of that, you know, this parental dynamic is always going to, you know, doom this child based on like the inherent toxicity within. I that's the closest I've felt to like something making sense of the ending. So I appreciate that, Chris.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that. That works for me more than anything I've tried to come up with.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, and I don't think my mom will ever listen to this, but as the child of somebody who should have gotten divorced and didn't.
I'm here for
you know,
that.
the kid was alive the entire time they were separated, and then even though these are representational, like ideal versions of them, the second they're in the room together, he has to die. Like that, I don't know. That's as close as I can get to it. I'm like, oh, I get it.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know? But I don't know.
They don't give you a present with a nice bow at the end of this film. And this movie really does feel apocalyptic. It really does just feel like the disintegration of the family, of society and everything. It's incredibly powerful. Hell of a film.
Yeah.
Hell of a fucking film.
You gotta take like a long, cold shower. After that. Sorry,
Great film. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Great film. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, it's one of those
Amen.
films that like benefited from the work of the crew because there's so many beautiful things about it. And then, you know, the director kind of gets by way of, you know, notoriety that the benefit of those positive criticisms.
The DP
but then like
really, for me, that was the first thing that I noticed about the movie. I was like, honestly, it's kind of giving a kitchen sink drama for a little bit, you know, at the beginning. But the thing that's keeping it fresh is the shots and the unusual framing.
Yeah.
So,
take notes, Aronofsky.
Well, what's interesting is in an interview I saw with the director, Andres is talking about
shots at the whale again.
He's talking about how, you know, I wrote this, I'm directing, and the DP deals with light. That's all he does.
oh my God.
And sometimes a DP will forget that you're shooting this, but it's my picture, which is why the lens, the camera, the film stock, that's all my choice. He does the light. And it really did feel like he's still embittered about how maybe people talk about how beautiful this film is, and he's like taking that somehow as something that's not worth celebration and saying like, hey, I chose that was me. This director really feels like a dick.
it's almost like
he's a step beyond the level.
Yeah, it's almost like he can't be happy for other people, you know, when they're doing okay for themselves.
Almost.
Yeah.
It's almost like maybe
Interesting.
that's why his marriage failed, you know? I'm just slamming this poor dead man.
Get his dead ass. Well, he dead. He can't hear you.
I can't help but wonder how this movie would have like gone if there was a female director, or we weren't really viewing Anna through, Mark's POV. I wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is fascinating. This has been a fantastic discussion of Possession, which, again, I agree is one of the best films that I've seen, like, for the first time this year.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
The two movies I've given 5 stars this year are both extremely fucked up because the other one is Solo.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, this is in some ways a lighter watch.
Therapy.
I'm going to it.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, Kristen, thank you so much for coming on.
Kristen, thank you.
Thank
Oh my
you,
gosh.
guys.
Anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Oh, no, I mean, you can find the blog I have on Medium. It's just The Aspiring Final Girl, although, like I said, this has kind of been shut down for a little while.
We'll link it in the show notes.
Sure,
Absolutely.
yeah. And yeah, for the most part, I'm just keeping my head down and screenwriting and chugging along.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Well,
Love
we can't
that.
wait to see something you write when it
Yeah.
happens.
Thanks.
And with that,
It's an end.
spooky season has come to an end.
Feels sad. At least we squeaked in one in the beginning with The Wailing.
Yeah,
happy about
that is
that.
true. Again, I've done this 2 years in a row now where I've squeaked in a horror movie right before spooky season.
You gotta.
I'm gonna find a way to do it next year too.
Yeah.
But
What distant waters are we sailing to
Do you
next?
hear that?
Alexis?
Do you hear that distant choo?
What is that?
Can you guys hear
It's
it?
train month.
Can you hear the
can.
train? Because we are rolling
What is
into
that?
the
I'm scared.
animation station, baby. Woo!
Animation
All right.
station. I
God,
love
that's
that.
good too.
That's pretty good.
That's good.
I'll give you that. That's pretty
that's
dope.
good.
Thank you.
You know, you needed to come in with a strong name to
Yeah,
replace
that's good.
Period Piece Palooza.
I know, because we had
And
so much
you did
fun
a
with Period
fantastic
Piece
job.
Palooza last year.
Woo!
But I thought
So
that
what's our first film?
I'd do you a solid, Zach, and I would give us a nice little transition so we could maybe enjoy a little bit extra spooky time. And
Hell yeah.
I know. I'm so kind, aren't I? So
You're
anyway,
the sweetest.
I know.
so the movie we will be watching is directed by Satoshi Kon from 1997, and it is Perfect Blue.
Hell
Perfect
yeah.
Blue, okay.
Hell yeah. More unhinged ballerinas.
Oh, here we go.
I can't wait.
She's not a ballerina. She's a former K-pop, J-pop star. And this movie is actually Darren Aronofsky drew off of this movie as inspiration for Black Swan. So
Yes, this is what I've heard.
and Satoshi Kon, his
Well,
other
I can't
movie
wait to see
Paprika
this.
from 2006 was also part of the inspiration for Christopher Nolan's certain segments of Inception. So this is a very, very
Inception,
fuck yeah.
I've heard that.
well-known director from Japan. So I'm excited. I already
Great.
watched it this week.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well,
Nice.
well, you can find it on AMC Plus. I can't wait to see this movie. I've been putting this one off for a
It
while.
is also
so.
on Shudder right now.
Ooh.
Indeed.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
That
you can
bodes well.
you can find that movie there. You can also rent it wherever you rent movies. And if you want to find us, the Film Majors, on social media, you can find us at Film Majors Pod on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and TikTok. And yeah, this has just been a goddamn delight. Again, Kristen, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you, Kristen. This was wonderful.
And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
All right. Take care, folks.
Bye.